Hi, George Sanders, President, Goldcliff Resource Corporation. Welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today, we'd like to share with you some discussions that we've been having all week long within our team and with various market participants about a very compelling setup picture for the junior exploration market. Late last week and early this week, some charts of the junior market for exploration companies really caught my attention. They're very compelling, and we're going to share with you, show you those charts and walk you through what's so exciting about them. But those charts were showing a different picture from the on-the-ground reality. And the on-the-ground reality is there's still really no volume in the junior exploration space. There's very little interest, there's very little chatter. All the former participants are really struggling, not playing, retired, moved on, no longer interested, not doing anything. It's very difficult for junior exploration companies still to raise money. And so that's the reality on one side. And on the other side is this very compelling picture. So what the heck's going on? And I'm very confused by that. So I did spend, as I say, a lot of time this week talking to not just people on our team, but lots of other market participants and people in my network to see if they were seeing the same thing. Many hadn't even looked. But the ones that had, we had detailed conversations that were very interesting. So, not sure where we're going with this, but we're going to take a look at these charts and then try to make some sense of them. Before we do that, of course, I'm going to have to give the quick disclaimer. I am not a registered financial advisor. I am giving no financial advice. Neither am I making any predictive comments here. This is just sharing observations and discussions. With that said, let's jump into it here and we'll get some charts up. And the first chart that we're going to put up is of the TSX Venture Exchange. Now, this is not a great proxy for the junior market, for the simple reason that the TSXV is now comprised of many non-resource issuers. However, it's the best proxy we have. It's way superior to the GDXJ on account of the GDXJ is mostly comprised of junior and intermediate level producers, so actual mining companies that have very little to do with the exploration space. So we're going to take a look at the one-year chart of the TSX Venture Exchange, and I'm just going to highlight some of the things that jumped out at me that others have also observed. So first thing we want to do is look at some of the highs. First high we're going to look at is back in the latter part of mid-May. We have a subsequent high at more or less the same level in mid-October. Another one again in early December. And another one again in early January. And then you can see we've moved to higher ground in the first week of February. So if I take a line somewhere just below 630, maybe 628, and I connect all those subsequent highs, what I find is a high that failed, a subsequent high that failed to break through. We've punched up against that ceiling, or what market technicians call resistance, several times, and then last 10 days we've punched through that. Also like you to take note of the early August low, a subsequent low in early September, and then another low in late December. Interesting thing is each one of these lows is higher than the last low. And so if we were to connect those with an inclined line running from the middle of the graph up to the right hand side and joining up with that horizontal resistance or ceiling line, we would have a wedge pattern, and clearly we have broken out of that wedge. That's a very compelling technical picture of whatever financial instrument is being charted. And the one final comment on it is for the last 7 or 8 trading days, you can see it's moved sideways. It will probably continue to do so for another few days, such that if one wanted to, we're not going to do it here, but you could draw a little box around that or a little circle, and if this move is going to sustain itself at some point, you could see a move breaking out of that to the upside. Let's switch now to the 5-year chart. We'll get the 5-year chart up, and really what's jumping out at, well, first of all, I wanted to see if this short-term move, which may very well be related to the strong performance of the price of gold since the beginning of the year, I wanted to see if that pattern was in any way confirmed on the longer-term pattern. So what is emerging is a beautiful long-term saucer bottom, and I want to highlight that for you right now. So if we go to the middle of 2022, we have a low, we have a subsequent low at the end of the year, just going into January of 23. Then in the last quarter of 2023, we have a subsequent lower low. Now we're moving up to the right side of the saucer, and in the middle of 2024, we have those 2 double bottoms, and then we take that up to today. If we draw a line across this current breakout that you can see at the far right of the graph, somewhere around 640 or just below there, you can see again these highs failing each time they were reached, creating resistance. And this chart is at least partially confirming that this is a breakout from the long-term resistance. What I'm finding really, really compelling about this chart is that this is a 2.5-year base, a 2.5-year foundation, and that, at least in the past, has been a really strong platform off of which happens springboard type moves. Don't know if that's going to be the case here. Time will tell, but certainly these 2 charts have caught not just my attention, but the attention of several long-time market observers. So we'll put the charts away and come back to my ugly mug and just see if we can make some sense of this. So, back at you. As I said at the outset, this very compelling picture, at least in the very short term, is not being confirmed by a lot of extra volume. So, what's going on? One of the things that came out of these discussions is that all of us market participants, and I've talked to many other colleagues, if you will, who are running junior resource companies, the networks have gone dead. The remaining shareholders are very tired. Clearly, they just want to get even, They certainly aren't interested in averaging down. They're not interested in putting any new money to work. I've spoken in earlier videos about the demographics working against the junior resource, junior exploration space, a whole series of factors spreading out from one's shareholders and one's immediate contacts, the networks of influencers, of newsletter writers, of brokers. All of those market participants have, if not lost their clout or their impact, it's been seriously diminished, and the reason is their followers aren't participating, and the reason for that, among others, is that they haven't made any money in 2.5 years, as that 5-year chart indicated. So what's going on with this picture? A possible explanation emerged, and that is in response to the dramatic move being made by gold. There are a lot of new eyeballs just from a macro point of view on the gold space. Nothing to do with the junior resource space. But a subsector of those new eyeballs who will see a chart like this will say something to the effect of, gee, that looks like a trend change. Some of these companies are looking for the precious metals in which we're interested. Maybe we should pay attention. And I think that's what's going on. I think there's a little bit of activity. There are some new eyeballs. Clearly, and the volume indicates this, no one is committing any new money, or at least any serious new money, to the space yet. I had a very long conversation with a good friend of mine who's a 45-year experienced market participant, chart guy, fundamental guy, just a really solid market observer. And he said, this has only been with us, this breakout, for like 7 days. So give it a month or two. Let's see if it confirms. Let's make sure it doesn't fail. And he said, if this thing holds, maybe go back and do another video about it. But what these charts are telling us is people are starting to pay attention. They're not committing funds yet, but in order to do so, they first have to get up to speed on who are the participants in the business, what are they doing, what are the dynamics of the individual companies, how do we participate. And I believe from these conversations that that may be the early days of what we're seeing. So who knows? An alternate analysis could be that what we're seeing is the emergence of a junior crypto finance and AI market, and that's what's driving the index, not the resource stocks at all. The only comment I would make with that is that on any given day, at least 50% of the leading traders on the TSX Venture are resource issuers, and on a day like today, February 14th, Valentine's Day, silver is a little bit outperforming gold, and on those days, typically the leading traders will be represented by silver exploration companies. So that tells me we're maybe on the cusp of a trend change, not yet confirmed, but eyeballs are on it. So let's watch closely and stay tuned.